Trying to make sure everything is working. Where's my chat? Oh, poop, here it is. Okay, cool. Hello, we are live today, partially because I've just been not able to keep up with video content. Is that better? I don't know. Okay. But also it's just a little bit easier. I don't have to edit it. But I also have kind of a dilemma, sort of, that we can all work on together. So I have to make an adventure for the next issue of Everyday Dragons magazine, issue 3, and our theme is ancient technology. So I was trying to come up with an adventure idea for this, and I have like a rough outline, and not really an outline, really just like a brain dump of ideas on a piece of paper. So I'm gonna go through that. But I figured showing kind of the process for creating an adventure might be helpful to other people. And so this is very unscripted, not really a tutorial per se, but this is kind of how I go about building things. We're definitely not going to get through all of it today. I anticipate this, because it's for the magazine, requiring me to do a lot more, I don't know what the correct word for that is, but just a little bit of a deeper dive into certain things like stat blocks, taking a long time with the map, and that kind of thing. So I predict not finishing this adventure, but maybe by the time I'm done with the stream, you guys can get a sense for my process in creating something like this. I'm not saying this is the best way to do it, because is there a good or best way to be creative? I don't really know. But I do feel like maybe you can learn something from me. Maybe it's from my mistakes. I don't know. Yes, adventure making. You're right, Kirsty. Yes, I don't know. I brainstormed a little bit. So we'll get to that. Let's turn on some music. You guys let me know if it's too loud or whatever. I tried to test, but that's why I'm wearing headphones though, so that I can kind of hear it too. But, so you guys let me know if it's too loud, too obnoxious. We can always change playlists too. But let me show you guys kind of where I've started. So usually what I do is I just start throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? And so I kept thinking about ancient technology and, sounds okay, that's great. And just thinking about like how that, yes, this ye old spaghetti method, correct. So just trying to like throw things at the wall and see what I like lean towards, because that's going to be the thing that I want to create. And I got this in my head of some sort of vault of stars that only opens during like certain celestial things, or maybe it's like uncovered somehow. I haven't really figured that part out, but I want it to be kind of star themed, or space themed. So that's kind of the technology part. So yeah, so I have written here, an advanced civilization vanished, because why not? And then they left behind legends of some sort of vault containing their greatest creation, which I don't know what that is yet. We can actually fix this here. Some sort of magical engine is what I put, like a celestial engine. I don't know. And then the party is hired to obviously investigate. I have some rough ideas, but none of these are set in stone, because I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself. But I need some sort of setting. We're going to have to figure out where this vault is, why is it hidden, why has it been hidden for so long, that kind of thing. And then we have to figure out the kind of key encounters for this adventure. So I have here the 5-room dungeon here. 5RD. So typically in a 5-room dungeon, there's an entrance and a guardian, a puzzle, a setback, a climax, and then some sort of reward. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's like exactly 5 rooms. How many rooms is this supposed to be finished in one session or several? So I have the note about a 5-room dungeon, but I don't really want it to be just one session per se, so I might add in some additional like optional things to it. But I feel like if you follow the 5-room dungeon like template, it offers a very well-rounded adventure, right? Because you've got your entrance and your guardian, you've got some sort of puzzle or role play opportunity, and you have like a big boss, and then you have rewards. Like it's a good formula to follow, so you know that you're touching everything. So that's why I have it written here. I don't know if I'll stick to just 5 rooms, if I'll add some other small details. We'll see as we get there. I obviously wrote that it needs technology-based traps. You can tell I was really writing quickly. And maybe that the traps are a security system of some kind, because it's ancient tech. So I was thinking, I just started writing words, really. Constructs, force fields, gravity or anti-gravity, I don't know, an energy turret, golems or clockwork beasts, and who are the new residents, because this has been hidden for forever, but that doesn't mean something hasn't inhabited it, right? So I thought maybe there could be evidence of new residents that have taken over. And then I was thinking the complications are important as well. So we need obviously some sort of unique boss. And that's where I started coming up with like, maybe that engine powers like an AI system. And the AI, I almost thought like Portal-esque in this way, like the AI is controlling the chambers and puzzles. But I don't know how well that will translate into this star theme idea. But somehow it's probably corrupted. And then I was also thinking about offering some sort of moral dilemma, which we can get to, where like maybe removing the machine like destroys the AI, sure, but maybe the AI has like all the memories of a part or subsection of that ancient people. And then the other thing was limited time. I was thinking maybe the place would be resealed somehow. And then of course I started throwing ideas about rewards, which really just boiled down to like special items and lore about an ancient civilization. But this was all I pretty much just threw all of this down. It was just in my head. For the AI says I'm a real boy. Yeah, maybe. This was just like all stuff that was like sitting in my head, and I threw it down on here before stream so that we could kind of talk about it and kind of actually flesh out an idea. So typically I start with something. So the thing I started with was Vault of Stars. And I was like, where do we go from there? So let's actually start fleshing this out, because I'm going to need some of the rooms figured out, some of the monsters figured out, so I can build a map and that kind of thing, and really get a feel for everything before I start actually creating those pieces, like the monster stat block, the items, or things like that. So I need a very good understanding of where I want this this adventure to go. So we'll come back to Adventure Hook, because for me that's kind of like a summary that you offer. And since we're not fully set on all the aspects of this, I'm going to focus on the setting first, because I feel like the setting where this vault is kind of lends itself to, you know, that 5-room dungeon feel. Like, you know, why was the entrance guarded or hidden for so long? Like, if it was in the jungle, maybe nobody could find it. I also thought about embedded in the mountains, but I like that idea less because I don't know how you would reseal it unless you had like a, I don't know, like an avalanche or, you know, something like that. So I'm leaning kind of towards a jungle. Alternatively, I also thought of a coastline. Maybe the water recedes due to a specific lunar alignment, because, you know, the moon deals with water. like it affects the tides, and maybe that reveals it, and that only happens so many years. Hello. I don't know. If you guys have thoughts, feel free to drop them in the chat, because I'm all ears. It's either jungle or a lot of things related to astronomy, astrology were on mountains. That is true, because then they're higher and they can see like with their telescopes and stuff, and that is true. It could be embedded in the mountains. But how do we reseal it? Because I want it to be like a limited time thing. Like that adds itself to that moral dilemma. Jungle doubles up with ancient lost ruins too. It does. I feel like that's kind of a trope that people play into a lot. Yeah, maybe... the only thing with the mountains is I just don't know how we stress a time limit, unless the AI has decided... Ooh, that was a very loud song. Okay. Unless the AI has sort of decided to, like, pull, like, a self-destruct button. Does that make sense? Resealing could be via hidden pass or valley entrance. Could be a hollowed out mountaintop. It could be. And then maybe... I don't know. Hidden pass or... Okay, so I think... mountains does make sense for something celestial. That makes it hard to get to, too, because not everybody can climb high mountains. You know? You have to have training to do that kind of thing. Not that every average day person is gonna climb a mountain to get to some place. It also lends itself to some sort of like telescope room. Telescope room. Or like observatory. That way there could be tunnels into the structure that would need to be sealed, and wherever the observation room was would need to be sealed as well. I see. Yeah. At the ancient ruins, ancient text states the entrance only opens when the stars align once every 100 years. It is only open for a few hours. That could be the case. Or mountain range rising from the jungle could be interesting. Combine both. There's a good what's the word I'm looking for? Compromise is the word I was looking for. The other option is something like Stonehenge. That's true. Okay. So let's go with mountains. So we will need to talk about who's sending them in a minute. Embedded in the mountains on the highest peak of a well-known mountain range. I'm not naming anything until later. I always, even this, that it's called Vault of Stars, that's a stretch. We don't know. Could be calderas. It could be. If Stonehenge, it could have some sort of structure open when the alignment happens below the rock structure. Oh. Yeah, because Stonehenge is like just monuments, like big rocks. And then, so we could have something like that indicating there was something below, or indicating it was, like they know where it is. A well-known mountain range. I don't name anything, so until the end, because that takes me hours. I go back and forth on naming all the time. I also like the idea that it's like some sort of doorway that almost is like the Mines of Moria, like blue glowy light kind of doorway, because that kind of lends itself to like the feel of constellations in a way. You know what I mean? Like if we could make it look more like certain constellations. I'm thinking art-wise, but that takes a lot of work. Like the moon focuses in just such a way or something similar. Yeah, we could do that. Entrance only. Okay. Stonehenge would be pretty cool since it is a calendar, so the door only opens with certain alignments. That's cool. Okay. I'm down. So, but we can't call it Stonehenge. Maybe a specific star constellation has to align just right with the door. Oh. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so we need to actually, let's just put ideas here. And then we'll put the actual room, our actual encounters. So the first one is the entrance. Star constellation has to align with the door. Planetary alignment is also a common way for these sorts of things to work with ancient monuments. Okay. And we also have above ground. Is a stone monument that tells time, I need to look more into Stonehenge. What keyboard are you using? I like the clicky keys. Sorry, I don't know what. I can't remember. It's a. I don't know. I always go for the clickiest keys, though. I actually wouldn't recommend this keyboard, though. Not because I don't like the clicky keys, because I do, but half of the keys, the blue light doesn't work in them, so now they only flash red and green. And that was really annoying for me. And I'm not going to try and fix them individually because it's like 50%. So I wouldn't recommend. So I don't want to share the name anyway because the keyboard doesn't work as intended because they stopped working about halfway through the first year of having this keyboard. Anyway, back to the adventure. So yeah, above ground there's a stone monument that tells time. What was I saying? That represents the calendar years. I don't know. Maybe a specific time, and that's maybe they had that could lend itself to who's sending them on the adventure. Maybe some sort of historian has discovered that the monument has discovered that the monument represents a specific date. We could throw some ancient words on there. Oh man, I'm really struggling with this whole typing correctly. What else? Okay, so that's the entrance. We have a star constellation to align with the door. So that's why nobody could get in. Maybe they didn't even know there was a door. Maybe it started glowing, like faintly, like a couple weeks ago, you know? The door started glowing a few weeks ago and has been getting brighter. What if others know about this opening at that time and PCs compete to be there first? Might put a clock on the PCs. I thought about that too. Let's put that down here. Rival adventurers? Question mark? Like the door to Smog's lair? Oh, I didn't think about that. Yes, probably. Is a henge. I don't know what a henge is. Stonehenge is a henge just made of stones. I'm not sure what a henge means or like what that word means. Look, I'm not all knowing. I'm just some lady on the internet. So we have an entrance. Does it need a specific word or something to get into, or does it just open? Because if it just opens, that's fine. They can like get there early and stuff. But if we have rival adventurers arriving, maybe there's more than one door. What about that? If there's two doors and there's like a back entrance and a rival group found it. If it needs, that's why I was like, I don't know if we need a word or not, because if it needs a word, how do people know it? Aside from this historian, you like the idea of more than one door. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe there's a side entrance too. And maybe if they get there ahead of time, they could find it. Let's see. But does that mess with the alignment? Or does that, you know what I mean? Because we said that a certain constellation is in the sky, it has to align with the door. So does that mean the other door is in the same, I guess, cardinal direction or something, maybe? Is it a different constellation? Does it open a little bit later? I think that makes it too complicated. Is it just magic and I need to stop overthinking it? Because this is the other thing that happens a lot. Well, we have at least one door. We'll think more about it if we want rival adventures. So let's move on to... So with a 5-room dungeon, there's usually some sort of guardian too at the entrance. So if we're thinking ancient technology, I love the idea that the ancient technology is like magically infused modern technology. You know, like it's I don't know. Think of I don't know, airport security in the US or something, but it's magically powered. That could be interesting. Depending on how old the location is, there could have been quakes or such that could have made a very thin crevice as a second dangerous entrance. That's very smart. I like that one. Let's write that down here by the rival adventurers. Second door crevice made by earthquake. I like that idea a lot. Okay. Okay. What kind of guardian do we want at the entrance? Security system was what I was thinking. No, AI, don't help me write. Like a force field of some sort? But what could... It could be a security guard, like a construct, a golem. Thoughts? I'm thinking... Again, I like to mesh modern technology and make it feel old. Like, or magically powered. A steel golem? Could be. Do they have stats for that? Guardian. Okay. There's a steel defender for artificers, isn't there? Steel defender. I feel like since it's ancient, Make it look like robots from iRobot. Maybe. We still want to kind of be in that celestial theme. So what kind of I need a monster manual, actually. That's what I need. What kind of like celestial beings are there? They have a thing in the back here somewhere. I don't know that they have any, or even, I was gonna say it could just be like mountain monsters, but I feel like this is guarding the entrance, so it has to be specific. But maybe another room could have a mountain. What if it's like a bear or something? Or like a basilisk? Do basilisks live in? That is a good question. What level is this designed for? Because that also determines the CR and such of the adventure. I always like to. I feel like we do a lot for like lower levels. Could be a creature in a magical stasis field. That feels more laboratory though, I guess, than observation or observatory. We should determine the level. That should go up here. Let's go big. Like 8? Is 8 too big? 8 lets us get some crazy monsters in here, though. We can always change it, though, if I find certain enemies. Will-o-wisp type sort of remind me of a star. We could flavor it to be kind of like a star. Let's go 8. But will-o-wisps, aren't they little? They're little, but also don't they like to lead people to danger? Isn't that what a will-o-wisp does? There's a lot of brainstorming right now. My Friday brain is like, I don't know, just put monsters in it. Just think here. Let's just pause on that. Unless we think of like some sort of clockwork creature. It's been some time since I looked up will-o-wisps. Yeah, I feel like they lead people to their doom, right? They're tricksters or something, and they kind of like lead them to ambushes. Let me find it. Will-o-wisp, where are you? 333. 333. This is 2024 rules though, so not that I think they changed that much, but yes, from a distance, will-o-wisps look like lanterns bobbing in the dark through the windows of abandoned structures or around the bends of treacherous paths. These spirits tempt the curious into peril. Once their prey is vulnerable, will-o-wisps feed on the life force of those they lay low. So yes, they hungry for your soul. But that's not necessarily bad. It could be, I mean, this temple's been, underground for forever. It could be something that maybe was benevolent at one point, but is corrupted now. Ew, look at this picture. Oh, you guys can't see. Wait, let me make it bigger. Face only. Look at that picture? It's got like a face in it. Oh, this way. Hopefully it's not too blurry. And it doesn't make me all blurry. But yeah. So we could make it something like that. Because souls of they are technically undead. So it could be souls of the ancient civilization. Internet says there's a clockwork golem, but is it SRD friendly? That's the other problem. Will-o-wisps probably are, because I feel like will-o-wisps are in what's the word? Lore, mythology and stuff. There's stories about them. Is it under Gollum, you think? Gollum. We're getting too caught up on this one guy, though. There's no Gollum in here, so it's probably under something else. Construct, maybe? Okay, well, we're getting caught up on the Guardian. It could also just be some sort of force field that I also thought could read your intentions, you know? Like, if you're curious-minded, maybe it lets you through. If you have ill intent, it doesn't. No worries. Come back soon. So maybe they, like... Could the AI be Sphinx-like? It could be. Like asking riddles to gain your knowledge. I like that idea. Corrupted Sphinx. Sphinx? I always have a hard time pronouncing that word. Sphinx-like? And maybe that force field... Or it could be energy. I have energy turrets here. But I don't know if they would guard it like that. You know what I mean? An observatory with magical turrets. Like, what were they studying that was so... I mean, they do have, I guess, an AI engine in there. So maybe it's to protect the engine. All right, we're gonna put energy turrets because that's maybe they're star powered. I don't know what that means exactly yet. We'll figure that out. But their abilities will be akin to something maybe lunar or like moonbeam, but in a line or something. Let me put that down. Like moonbeam. Energy turret. That was my nickname in college. I doubt that, Josh. I really highly doubt that. But yeah, maybe we do that, and then we need some sort of puzzle room. So, or a trap. It can also be a trap. Any ideas? I like the idea of gravity and anti-gravity. Because that could also add to the final boss, you know? Where, like, maybe there's panels and it shifts the direction of gravity, so making it a very 3D space. That could be very hard to make a map of, though. But, you know. How complex do you want to get? Well, not too complex, but it is for level 8 now, I've decided, so need to make it still challenging for that. I typically, when I make a puzzle or a trap, I try to come up with as many ways to solve it as I can, but at least 3 ways to solve it, because if you come up with just one way, and you just stick to that, it can take forever to get people to understand the puzzle. You know what I mean? Gotta have multiple ways to accomplish things. I'm also very flexible. If you just get close to the idea, I'm like, okay, why not? That should work. So, puzzle or a trap? I like another room too to be home of the new residents. So like monsters that have taken over an area. That could be where the crevice is. Or near the crevice. Maybe not exactly by. I did tic-tac-toe on a wall with unusual items as the X's and O's, and it stumped my players for a good 15 minutes. The threat for the puzzle could be a player is petrified for each wrong answer. Okay. What? Maybe... This is always the hardest part, I think. Making a complicated puzzle. Of course, I'm doing this on the spot, too, in a live stream, so that's equally as hard. You want the... Has to be the observatory. Oops. Would that be the same place that houses the AI? Maybe not. Maybe the AI powers the telescope, too. Or I guess we could think of it from that direction as well. What puzzle or trap would the AI use to determine their, I don't know, their intelligence? Play golems in the room that start filling with acid. It's a classic. Is it? Because I've never done that one. I think I'm gonna go with something gravity related. Anti-gravity. So let's just start brainstorming that. So maybe different tiles change the direction of gravity. Maybe you need to move the tiles to a specific place. Or maybe you need to figure out which one is... I don't know. I don't know. Could use the reverse gravity spell. Yes. Let's just put that on here. Reverse gravity spell. We could... Maybe they're also being shot at by other energy turrets? So they have to maneuver across the room while being shot at? This seems like a very dangerous observatory. Or it could be maybe the turrets themselves reverse the gravity. And they have to point them at certain things. Maybe maybe I'm too stuck on the gravity thing. Alternatively, how do you test somebody's intelligence in a Sphinx-like manner? Let's pull up the Sphinx. So, Sphinx of Wonder, Sphinx of Secrets, of Lore, of Valor. There's different ones. Wow, look at this artwork though. It's pretty. So Sphinx of Secrets is commonly associated with a site of great magic and learning. These immortal beings often outlive such locations and might protect a site's ruins as they continue their own studies. So they guard it. That sounds kind of nice. What was the other one? Of Wonder. One comes into being every time a unique idea is conceived. I don't think so. So I guess if we're looking at... you could put a pair of constellations on each of the 6 walls, and each correct answer could shift the gravity to the next wall to be answered. Wait, let me read that again. You could put a pair of constellations on each wall, and each correct answer could shift the gravity to the next wall to be answered. So saying like there's could be like tiles on the wall, and when you answer it correctly, it flips the tile of the next question. Petrification as a way to solidify something into shapes to match the constellations. Okay, because typically constellations do have like imagery associated with them, right? Like you think like the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, aren't they bears? Or the snake. So that's a good idea. But then do we pull in made up constellations? Or do we have to use constellations that we know in real life? Does that break whoever's world we're putting this in? You know? But I do kind of like the idea of pairs of constellations too. If you make things match the stars as they are on a specific date or on the date you want someone to refer to, yes, that would depend on your world building. Interesting. But how would they know? I guess we could always provide them some research from the historian too. And you don't have to wait for the stars to align. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a book or something. That's what I was thinking. Or, of course, if we do that, we need to give them too many options. Right? Like, can't just give them the 6 answers. And we have to make it vague enough. Information about the Sphinx and stories about how they watched the stars for hundreds of years. Yes, the Sphinx is the AI, though. We're using the idea of a Sphinx-like AI. So, but do you like that? That they've been studying it forever. If you have different alignments for different dates, then the puzzle could be multi-purpose. Elaborate. I like the constellations. I like the idea of flipping or matching the constellations to things. So let's do something like that. Constellation matching game. Maybe in front of each constellation, there's some sort of pedestal. And they have to put something on the pedestal on the button that matches the essence of that constellation. So match the stars to a date where the stars looked one way and a different door opens or something else is unlocked. Ooh. A book could be in the observatory library, and the information could be a reward for players who look through the books. That is true. Not everybody reads. Or there's a vision shown of that date, or whatever they might be guarding. Okay. Let's go with the constellation. I like the idea of a constellation matching game, essentially. This puzzle it's like a 5-room dungeon. So this puzzle, with a 5-room dungeon, you typically have like an entrance and a guardian, and then a puzzle or a trap. Then there's some sort of setback or trick or something. Then the climax, which is typically the big boss, and then there's a reward. This adventure doesn't have to be just strictly a 5-room dungeon, but I want to have at least those minimal pieces to make it a well-rounded adventure. Just to reiterate for people who are just now joining. We have an AI as the boss, and they will be very Sphinx-like, but also they're corrupted. I also like the idea that the AI is housing some of the or like the AI is protecting a machine, some sort of engine that's powering the whole facility. Yes, a quizmaster. Yes. But the machine itself is also holding like the memories of some of those old people. Like they've uploaded their memories and consciousness into the AI, and so I want to present kind of a moral dilemma to players. Like they could take this, and maybe that's what the historian wants, is to like, or some group wants them to take the engine out and use it to power other things. But if they do that, then they corrupt the memories. I think the constellation puzzle could be the key to the most important room. That's true. It could be. And then we could hint at what each constellation does in other rooms. Maybe the date of their birthdays or deaths or whatever unlocks those people's memories. Wasn't there a Star Trek or Stargate episode with a dilemma like that with the memories of the entire people? You're not wrong. I didn't think about that. There was a Stargate episode of that, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Okay, so we'll go with constellation. So each one has a like a, how do you spell pedestal? Pedestal, that's not it. Pedestal. Where you must place an item that matches the lore, history, depiction of the constellation. Constellation, thank you. Stargate, yes. The problem was the device tried to force you to stay in the memory world it had built. Yes, that is true. You could maybe have conversations with the ghosts, which would help them fight the boss, or discover some weapon or tool to use against them. That's true. Those could be the will-o-wisps. Somebody suggested will-o-wisps. And maybe once you subdue them, they turn back into memory fragments or something? I like these. These are all good ideas. So that's the big puzzle is the different constellations. How many should we do? Stereotypical is 3. Turning back into memory fragments would be cool. Okay, I like that one too, but I was like, well, maybe that's been overdone. I don't know. So let's put that here somewhere. Let's put it here, because will-o-wisps are subdued equals memory fragments. The prize you're looking for could be the power source to the storage keeping the people alive. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. So this is... So we'll put... the engine. I've called it an engine, but I don't know what it is the power source keeping the people alive. Now we need to like figure out how many people that could align with how many constellations are on the walls, and then we can come up with rooms for each individual one. Wow, you giving lore as a reward? Yes. Is that not... It's an ancient civilization. You didn't know anything about them until, you came here. I do that in Remnant too, which is probably why people are always like asking about what they can read and not. These are just ideas anyway, Josh. Stop being a butthead. Okay, so we have these. So one thing we need to do is when we come up with NPCs is to kind of make them extreme, right? Because that makes them stand out more, you know? More for a future adventure, and crafting items is always a great reward, right? See, that's what I said. And look, I said special star-related items. Translating could be a downtime action or a quest to look for a Rosetta Stone. Yes, we did that in Remnant as well. The Rosetta Stone was a big library. Okay, so if we want to make some people who were working here, who would work in a constellation AI-powered observatory? Is the joy of playing with you not enough of a reward on its own? No, not typically. You were ready with that response before I even like finished my sentence, sir. But anyway. So this needs to go under setting though, because these are our people. So obviously we need a historian. I really like, I don't know if anybody here has played Tales of Symphonia, but I always love Rain as the nerdy kind of strict teacher, but then when she gets into ruins, she's like a small child. I always like that personality for a historian, but I don't know that everybody else does. So we need to come up with some sort of quirk, right? Something that makes them different, easy to roleplay, and because I have a hard time with that if there's not a quirk. A mechanic. IT for the inside, yes. So mechanic / IT. Definitely IT more than mechanic, probably. Their room should be like the server room. Whoops. Maybe that's also where you figure out that there's like memory disks or memory, like maybe that's where things are being stored. What? Stored. So we got a mechanic. I'm thinking 3 or 4. 4 feels good, but could be too many. 3 is the typical, you know, I have game mechanics. They always do things in 3s. So we'll start with 3. We need somebody who is just obsessed with maybe space in general. So like maybe like a professor. Whoop. Man, really failing at the whole typing thing. Or an academic of some sort, I guess. We're not naming these people yet. I won't name them until later. No. We need muscle too, maybe? Well, so the mechanic IT person also probably fixes the turrets. Secure system. Professor, what is the professor studying here? The stars. I need to look more into astronomy. Astronomy. How do you spell astronomy? Now you're all gonna realize that I have horrible... I'm dyslexic. That's what I'm gonna say. Astrophysics. That's a good one. Astrophysics. There we go. That's true. That could also lend itself to the anti-gravity stuff if I wanted it to. Maybe their room is all... Gravity's weird in their room. Gravity room? Question mark? What else can we do? At least one more. The assistant, right? Professors, academic professors have assistants. Assistants. Oh, that doesn't look right. Assistant, there you go. Assistant. What makes them quirky, though? What makes them weird? You mean minions, yeah. Now, if only I could have some assistants / minions. I feel like she should be... Is it a she? Apparently it's a she now. Young and naive. Interns. Oh, Jesus. We need to not do that. Okay. Interns. The intern. You don't need to pay them. They're here for academic study. What is it? A work study? A work study only? Maybe they also feel like they deserve more? Is that how work study kids feel? Feel like they deserve more credit? Or freedom? I feel like... Yes, and they could be resentful. Oh, yeah. Especially now that we're, like, dealing with these will-o-wisps. They could be, that encounter could feel more sinister in that way. Less like it's protecting something, more like it's trying to hurt others. Like, reflect this in the will-o-wisp encounter. I like that. Resentful is a good word. Okay. That's 3. Do we have anybody else we want to be putting in this observatory? They could be what helps the group if the encounter is too hard. Could be. Like, once you free their memories, maybe they feel bad. Guilt-ridden. Maybe the professor feels entitled. Is that a good word? So you don't really know if you want to support him or help him? Or maybe that's the thing that comes... Maybe it's arrogant, you know? His will-o-wisp is arrogant. Will-o-wisp arrogant. So that makes them want... I don't know. Feel like they do stupid things. I like the idea, though, that each room is pulling... So the will-o-wisps are there, and they pull them into the rooms, and it's some sort of trap. So either there's, like, other monsters in there, or something else that has manifested over time to reflect the biggest personality trait of these people. So, what about my IT guy? Dejected? Always having to fix everybody else's problems. Feels under, is that how, is this, what I think most IT people feel? Is like, people don't listen to them? Okay. I mean, that's a good starting point at the very least. I think constellation-wise, we could figure that out too. I like the idea that maybe the intern is like a book constellation. And like the professor is a telescope or a planet. But I guess you can't have a planet in the... We feel rage, and seriously? Yeah. Do you like how I read that? I feel like that was the exact tone. Yeah. So he could be just very angry. But the professor, the academic, what constellation represents them? Gravity. It needs to be less, not so easy, right? Could be a nova, like in Orion's belt. Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna write that down. We'll figure that out. Oh, I did not spell that right. Okay. Will-o-wisp. Okay. Cool. The mechanic could be, I don't think it should be like a wrench, but like a constellation that's a fixer. Or a problem solver. A gear. I don't want it to be too obvious, but now I feel like we need a fourth one. Well, I feel like this is like pretty good. We are approaching 1 o'clock, which is when I was about to end the stream, but I feel like this gives me a room for each of these NPCs. So that's, each one can be more of a puzzle. We still have the historian could be a scale like Libra. Well, the historian is going to be the person who gives the quest, so, but I do like the scale idea. I do like that idea, though. This is the quest giver. So he exists. He's not in the matrix, as it were. So this is locking what? The observatory, maybe? Or is the observatory... This is locking the power room. The engine room. Locked. Maybe the new home could be an old storage room. I want these to be, whoops, that is going here, stop it. I want this to be, I don't know, wolves or bears or like natural creatures that have inhabited, and it will be near the crevice. So that'll just be me finding stat blocks for that. And that's an encounter. I think the observatory should be the professor's quote-unquote room. So what kind of puzzle? And what kind of memory? The observatory could have the information on the old constellations and can hit at a mystery as to why they decided, like, that's the other thing. We need to figure out why they decided to upload their subconscious into it, or was there something that happened that forced them to do that, you know? Professor's room. So his memory could be, let's see this, memory, fragment, the moment they decided to upload their subconscious. A gamma ray burst? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Maybe. The moment they decided to... Or the moment they... Before they became a part of the AI. I like that. Like some sort of big explosion. It threatened their civilization instead of destroying life. It just killed their tech. Possibly. Or they tried to divert it from destroying a big city that could be the extra lore here. The name of a old forgotten town, or its whereabouts, you know? And then this, maybe it's like like a meteor was gonna crash. No, it feels like, or maybe I guess a gamma ray would work, and maybe that was going to destroy a whole town, and then they redirected it through the telescope somehow, and it fried their system and them, but kind of like in a magical explosion that made them a part of the AI. There could be a huge gravity magitech that helped bend the ray. Yes, because he is all about gravity. We made his room gravity fit focused. So I feel like this can't be the professor's room then. It's an office now. Or the library could be. We mentioned a library as well. But a library feels like the intern's room, the assistant. Right? Before they were part of the AI. Gamma ray. First, they redirected. And observatory has what? Then we had server room for our guy. Our IT guy. IT! This one should have more turrets. But maybe they're like broken. Turrets that are broken or in various stages of repair. I want his memory to be the professor and him talking about redirecting the beam. Talking about adjusting the observatory telescope to redirect the beam, and him grumbling about it. I want him to be a grumbly kind of IT man. Turrets could be a reward for an artificer. We'll put that down here. A mini turret. Let's go to the common sci-fi fix. Switch the polarity. We can't just switch the polarity. I want to play. Okay. I think that's pretty good. The observatory, I think they can just maybe learn a little bit more about, or we can combine the library and the observatory together. Having all the resources in one place makes sense. And maybe that's the assistant's room. Maybe they had a desk in there. Trying to make this not a humongous map I have to make. So the memory could be when they discovered something. A discovery. And what's guarding it? Aligning the defense against the ray. Engine room. I guess this is more like power room, but that's where the AI is. That's the boss. There's also the point that there's going to be other adventurers in here. Adventurers. Rival faction queues. I think I'd make that optional. They don't have to have that as an idea. I think the server room also should show, because we mentioned having it, I think having the people's memories are stored here. People stored here. Maybe the assistant's discovery is that their AI, or maybe they talk about not wanting to be put into the AI. Or like not wanting to upload their documentation, or being yelled at for not uploading your documentation into the AI. Uploading your documentation to the AI and not wanting to put, I imagine, a VR helmet in the server room. Feels like it steals a part of them. And then people stored here using VR helmet. The AI could have pulled everyone against their will as a safety mechanism, you know? Maybe that's their, like, safety thing. So maybe in the professor's room there's, like, safety protocols. And we name one for when the AI pulls the memories of the team into it. I like that. It's like a safety protocol. And then the observatory. I feel like this is really good so far. I feel like it's unique. Can I call dibs on running this in Remnant? No. Plus it's not quite right for Remnant anyway. But I think that's a good place to call it quits though for the day, because we're already 15 minutes over. But I feel like what I would do after this, once I have all of these rooms kind of more fleshed out, I'm gonna give each room personality based on each of these people, as well as functionality. That's like a big thing. You have to think about why each room is being used and for what purpose, which also means on the map, I'm gonna put this on here too, just so that I have it written down. Oh my god. Is it shift tab? There we go. They need a dining area, recreation, and like bathroom. So those are 3 rooms that I can also create, put some monsters in, and then they can also be rooms that the players encounter the rival team. So I like that. But yeah, so what I would probably do next is go through and write all of these, like flesh out these rooms each a little bit more. Then I'll go in and maybe work on the encounters themselves. So trying to figure out monsters that would fit that I don't have to recreate. Since this is one I'm going to actually be publishing, I have to stick to SRD content or my own homebrew content. So I'll be doing that. The rival team could have entered the opposite directions than the players. True. And that will be more figured out after I sketch out the map itself. Either way, I will normally do that. Next is just like, it doesn't have to be perfectly balanced. I'll figure that out more as I'll throw it through some balancing. I have a whole Excel sheet for that I'll throw them into the encounters into that. And then I go ahead and figure out items. And then once I have some unique items, some unique monsters, I don't always come up with the boss right away. And a lot of times what I like to do is find equivalent bosses and tweak them. But for this one, since it's an AI, I don't know what I will look at exactly. But yeah, so I mean, if you like this, maybe we can do this again another day, but I also need this for the magazine, and I've been working on that all week. So I do have to call it quits though, or one, I'm hungry. But yeah, so I hope that people learned a little bit. It's a lot of brainstorming and building off of one idea. Where is this? There we go. But yeah, after this I would be doing monsters, encounters. Then I would probably make the map. It kind of depends. It depends on my creativity. Because my... stop, Flinty. Here, let me move the book, buddy. Because if I'm feeling more creative in a writing sense, I'll write descriptors of each of these rooms and the encounters. But if I'm feeling more like I want to do something visual, then I'll make the map and then I'll describe things. And usually the map itself will take the longest because I like to add more details as I go. So I'll make the basic outline, I sketch it out first, and then I go and make dungeon draft basics. Then I'll fill the rooms, and then I'll do all these other details. So, not that I'm like the best at, ooh, we'll pause the music here. Not that I'm the best at map making, but it's still good. So I hope that you guys had fun helping me brainstorm this adventure. This will be in the next issue of Everyday Dragons magazine. So if you want to see the finished product, you can subscribe on Patreon, which helps me pay for current issues. You get the other 2 issues right now if you did that. And or you can order the other 2 magazines right now on my website, cantripsmedia.com/everydaydragons for that particular thing. Yeah. Let me know how your own process goes and if it's as hectic and crazy and brainstormy as mine. Granted, I was trying to also work with the community on this one a little bit. And if you liked this one, let me know in the comments as well, and we can do more things like this. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Say bye, Flinty. He's like, no, just want hugs. He says, no, just want hugs. Look at the camera. Nope, he won't. Bye-bye.